We know during this time of year, sometimes you got to trim the bush a little bit. Sometimes you got to be careful with the short and curlies. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you about my friends at Manscaped, because you know they are the leaders in below the waistline grooming. Deke, you're aware of that, right?
Yeah.
You know they keep the grass low so the tree can show a little bit more. We with you on all that. And that's what we appreciate them. But that Lawnmower 4.0 in particular is the one that always stands out to me. You know, that one with the light on it. Turns on and off. Because some of these got lights that they don't turn on and off. That's not acceptable. You got to have options. Daytime, nighttime, primetime game. You know what I'm saying? Daytime game. But that's what the Lawnmower 4.0 brings to the table, along with a plethora of other healthcare options. Man, you're talking the shampoo, the body wash. Did you want to talk about the body wash?
Yeah. I've been using it ever since Manscaped sent over the care package. The body wash, the shampoo. Got me smelling good, feeling fresh.
I personally, you come in here daily, I'm like, yo, Deke, you smell really nice, bro.
Thanks.
I wanted to hug you the other day. I just didn't want to make it awkward. But that's what you bring to the table, man. That's what Manscaped brings to the table,
body
man.
spray, too.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, with that being said, we also know that when we talk about anybody up here, we got to have something for you. And that's a promo code. It's MOATS. You use that, you'll get you 20% off of your purchase at manscaped.com, along with free shipping worldwide. So, Deke, to me, this sounds like a no-brainer. It sounds like one of those things like, don't waste your time.
A win-win.
Yeah. They're doing for you. You're going to do for you. And you're also going to do for others. But either way, man, definitely use that promo code. And your dangly twins will appreciate you. Let's do this intro real quick, man. I got to talk about this guy right here. This second round draft pick out of West Virginia University. You know, almost heaven, that place. In the 1997 draft, man, second round draft pick, 50th overall to the Jacksonville Jaguars. But more importantly, 10-year NFL veteran, 6 of those coming right here in Pittsburgh, and Super Bowl 40 champion. Without further ado, Mike Logan, baby. Let's go, man.
Let's go, man. I appreciate you having a brother on your show, man. I see you doing great things, man. So I don't take this lightly, man. I appreciate you having me on.
From the heart, man. You know, this is something that we've been talking about doing anyways, man, having you come on and stuff like that, man. So just glad that you had a little time in your day, man, for us, man. And to hop right into this thing, we know that this time of year, when you're talking training camp, when you're talking preseason, for us players, man, it's a mentality. It's certain things that kind of come back to mind for us as retired players. So just for you, man, just talk a little bit about what goes through your mind during this time of year, man.
Well, as a player, man, it was just livelihood. It's everything that you wanted, you know, you could bring to fruition. And you control. This is the thing I talk about with training camp. You know, we don't have a lot of control over what happens with the roster and making the squads and everything. But at least in training camp, for me, I was like, I can control every action that happens to me, no matter what the decisions are made to get down to that final 53 at the time. I said, if I go out and I give my all for these 6 weeks and I leave nothing to be guessed, then I controlled my own fate, because I did everything in my power during the time when evaluations were up, when all the eyes were on you, when they say, you know, we have to have this young man on our football team. So for training camp, for me, it was livelihood. And I approached every practice, whether it was full pads, non-contact drills, like it was my last day. It was my livelihood. And I think that's how I was able to survive, and yes, survive for over a decade in the National Football League.
It's crazy hearing you say survive. Like that whole context right there, we were literally just talking about, you know, the average career span in the NFL and how a lot of dudes, man, don't understand how tough it is. And yeah, at times it does feel like you're just surviving.
Bro, for me, it literally was survival. And I say that because I was off injured during my career. So every year I really didn't have an off season. I was always rehabbing to come back. And every year you would hear somebody in the media say, there's no way that Logan's going to make this 53. I mean, he's a valuable guy. He plays multiple positions, but this dude is getting hurt, you know, and it was like year after year. So every year I would come out and I would have an outstanding training camp, because I basically had to rehab for the whole summer.
Let's go, man.
Yeah.
Let's go, dude.
So I was wondering, you're obviously from Pittsburgh, and you have an interesting story. I think, and I'm definitely curious on uncovering it here, how you got number 31 whenever you came over, because Donnie Shell, whenever he retired, the number was like unofficially retired, and then you were the first one to rock 31. Now there's been a couple players since then, but can you give us the backstory to all that?
Oh man, yeah, I definitely can give you the backstory for that. It was a very interesting one for me, man. First and foremost, it was an honor to don the number 31 on the field. You know, I'm a Pittsburgh guy, like you said, coming up, born and raised, idolizing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and having the opportunity to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers was everything in itself. So they could have gave me number 96. I would have wore that. I wouldn't have cared. But to be able to don 31, to me, it epitomizes everything about my career, because I not only wanted to emulate Donnie Shell on the football field, but I wanted to emulate him off the football field for the man he is and how he lives his life. And that was more important to me than the number. But the way the number came about was I was drafted by the Jacksonville Jaguars. My number in college was 23. Someone had that number down there in Jacksonville. So I was like, I know how this goes. I ain't coming out of my pocket giving you none of my rookie money to get that number. I was like, yo, it's just a number. You know, I'm happy.
Said, I don't want it like that.
Yeah, I ain't had no NIL deals in college, man. I wasn't coming up off my paper. You know what I mean? So they ended up giving me the reciprocal. I got 32, and I was cool with that. You know what I mean? I was like, all right, this is the new start, new career. Let's get it. Rock number 32. You know, my free agent year came up, and I was, you know, trying to see what I was going to do. I was actually getting ready to sign back with Jacksonville. And I ended up seeing Coach Cowher at his daughter's basketball game. I was going to watch Swing Cash, and I seen Coach Cowher, and I was like, I hope this dude can see me. You know what I mean? Like, he know I'm a free agent. You know what I'm saying? I'm kind of looking in his eyes like, Coach, you know, I want to come home and play for my hometown team. But luckily, they were in the market for a defensive back. And a couple days later, I think a couple weeks later, I got a call from my agent saying, hey, Pittsburgh wants to bring you home. And I'm like, are you serious? And he's like, yes. Let's go. This is a dream come true for me, since I thought I was, 6 years old, standing on a Colbin and Whitaker projects, saying I'm going to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And it was coming to fruition. So at that time, I was literally like, I told my agent, I don't care what they offer me, I'm signing. And he's like, yo, no. Let me do my work. Don't say nothing. You know what I mean? Like, let's get you some money that you deserve. I was like, listen, I don't care what they do. I'll sign for minimum for whatever. He was like, no, we're going to get this done. But I said all that to say the way the number came about was, there is this guy from the Pittsburgh Steelers who had this, like miracle catch where he grabs the ball off the turf and he goes down and scores. I forget. Franco Harris. You know that guy, Franco, who made the immaculate reception.
Might have heard of him. I seen him in an airport somewhere. I
think we heard of him somewhere. So I knew that was out the question. Coming home, I was like, there's no way, they're going to give me number 32. So, of course, Roger calls me on the phone. Hey, what number would you like? And I was like, Roger, I really don't care. He was like, well, you're a safety. Why don't you think about, we're going to give you 31. And right in that instant, I'm like, well, didn't Mr. Donnie Shell, wear that number? And is that number allowed to be worn? He's like, well, nobody's ever worn it since he's left, but I think he would be honored if you would. And I'm like, nah, bro. I'm like, that's not only, big shoes to fill, but that's a lot of pressure in trying to represent, like I said, who he was on and off the field. Yeah. But I was so honored that they even offered it, that I was like, and he's like, well, why don't you call him and see if he would mind? I'm like, listen, I'm not calling Mr. Shell and talking to him about, wearing his number. And I kept saying, Mr. Shell, they're like, listen, Donnie's a great guy. I think he would be honored. And I didn't make the call because I was like, I'm not doing that. You know what I mean? I'll take a different number, whatever y'all want to do. I think they made the call, and he was like, no doubt. Like that he was like, I would be honored if he did. And that's how that came about, man. And I tried to represent that number on the field best as I could, but I'm definitely representing what he means to me and the city of Pittsburgh and all of his teammates off the field. I'm trying to live in that light because I was lucky enough and honored enough to wear that number.
Man, that is an awesome story right there, man. Shout out to Donnie Shell, too, man. He's obviously been a friend of our show as well, man. Awesome dude, extremely humble, man. And shout out to Raj. For those that don't know, Raj at that time was the head strength and condition, or not head strength and conditioning, head of the equipment management and stuff like that. So, yeah, he green lights if you can wear a number or not. I know similar concept for me. He was one I had to talk to, even picking my jerseys and stuff like that, man. Raj has been around. I think he just retired like a year ago, maybe. Raj is one of them dudes, man. So definitely shout out to him. But I did want to go back and, as we talk about training camp and wrapping this part of this conversation up in terms of the interview or not the interview portion, but the training camp portion. Just, man, did you have one of those favorite memories, one of those favorite stories that you could think of from your time at Latrobe that you can share as well? Let's just throw that out there. You know, we have freedom, but just know, there's some
memories that I have to keep in my vault, which were great times. But I shared one about movie day going to when I was up at training camp. But there was a particular practice that I'll never forget, and this is when Coach Cowher had us in them dog days of summer. We're out there. We're going at the offense. And this was like during our live period and our 7-on-7 period. And Coach was like on the defensive backs. I mean, we was woofing back and forth. I mean, Cowher, he's spitting, his chin is out. He's like in our face. And we're like, yo, step back. Like it was good. It was going down for real.
Okay.
And there was a defensive back by the name of Chad Scott, man. And him and Coach got into it about Chad, doing something during one of the drills. And, I mean, literally, I thought that it was going to come to blows. Like, we had to calm Chad down, and the coaches were talking to Coach. And, like, it was like, I mean, like, this was like a brawl get ready to happen. And Chad Scott just got real quiet, bro. I mean, like, eerily quiet. And we were just like, okay, what's going to happen? I know something's going to happen. So for the next period, man, Chad Scott did not let a ball get caught on him on his side of the field. I mean, he's like diving, he's knocking down passes, he's pushing receivers down to the ground so they can't even get off the line of scrimmage. And then Coach Cowher says, hey, get yourselves together. Throw the ball over. He's getting on the quarterbacks and the receivers like, get back at him.
Yeah.
And Chad Scott went on to intercept, I think, the next 3 passes. And after each ball that he intercepted, he punted it up into the stands.
Let's go.
Yo, man. And then he stared Cowher down like with these intense eyes. I'm telling you, bro, if anybody's on that squad, I know they remember the practices.
Man.
This dude punted the ball, interception, boom, up in the stands. Interception, boom, up in the stands. Interception, boom, up in the I mean, and Coach was just like, you know what? No, I mean, there wasn't nothing else to be said. I mean, we was just over there looking in awe of what happened during that practice, bro. It was the most intense thing I've ever seen in practice, man.
Let's go, man.
Straight up. I'll never forget that, bro. Never forget it.
Yo, that took me right there. He said you just start putting the balls every time you get a pick. I love that energy,
bro. Booting it.
I love that
booting
energy.
It up into the stands,
love that
man.
energy. Yeah,
hilarious, man. But you know what, man? It set the tone for us as a defense. When we reflected on that during the season, when we were like, listen, we know that we can shut people down if we just go out and make the intensity always that high. And as you've seen with some of those defenses in the early 2000s, man, I mean, we were number 1 ranked defense, and as far as physicality and toughness and all those things go, that's what we embodied. I mean, you had Joey Porter fighting people before the game.
Easy, you know what he on.
It was, we just had, big personalities along with big playmakers. They backed it up with the big personalities by creating big plays.
Hey, can we go back to that Super Bowl 40 season?
Uh-oh.
What was your guys' confidence level going into that Colts Divisional Game? Because they were, at the time, during that era of the NFL, they were like the boogeyman. And we went on the road, was it Monday night during the regular season and got blown out? So, like, can you give me something behind the scenes heading into that game and just what your guys' mindset was?
Well, coming towards the end of that season, man, I mean, we knew that we had to win on the road to even get into the playoffs. We came in as a wild card. But there was literally, and I can't put an exact time on it or exact date on it, but there was a moment when everybody just clicked and we just drew a line in the sand. And we knew that we were going to go through the playoffs and get to the Super Bowl. And it wasn't a arrogance thing. It was just so much confidence and belief in the person next to you that they were going to execute their job to their fullest potential. We put the onus on each individual player to do that. And collectively, we were able to come together and put it all on the table and say, look, bro, we have it. We have all the tools at every position to get this done. We have people in every phase of the offense, defense, and special teams and coaching to get this done. And I think the rapport between players and coaching staff at that time is what made us so confident, because we would go to coach and say, Coach, man, this ain't working for us. This is how we want to do it. And he had enough confidence in us to say, well, listen, get it done. But if it ain't getting done, then we're going to do it the way I think it should be done. And with that rapport and being able to talk to the whole entire coaching staff about what fit us, how we were playing, what we wanted to do, I mean, and it was just a whole bunch of unselfishness. I mean, guys, I think were willing to give up a little playing time to move to different positions. We took the egos out of it. No egos, no superstars. Let's just go out as a team collectively and get this done. And we rode that wave all the way through the playoffs. It didn't even matter who we were playing. We were like, okay, the Colts are the best. Okay, we can't look at it like that. We're the best team collectively right now, and we're not going to arrogantly go out there and put it out, but we're going to confidently go out there and present this. And it's backed up by hard work, dedication, and putting the egos aside. And I think that's what led us to that Super Bowl run.
Let's go.
When did you guys know Big Ben had the it factor? Because he, as much as people want to talk about a little bit of his poor performance in Super Bowl XL, he showed out in those playoffs to get there. Like, when did you guys know? Like, going back to even, like, rookie year training camp, like, was there a point you just, like, he's got it. He's the guy.
Well, the funny thing about that is that, you know, when he came in, you know, he had that chip on his shoulder. He was just waiting for his opportunity. And I'll never forget Alan Faneca saying, man, we got this rookie coming in. I don't know if he can lead us, you know. But with that being said, we were like, we don't know if he can lead us. We don't know what kind of leader he is right now, but we know what kind of ball player he is. And we knew that he had the grits and the gut to go out there and the physical attributes to get it done. And with him wearing that chip on his shoulder, it was like, okay, let's help him prove this. You know what I mean? Like, instead of everybody saying, man, he got a chip on his shoulder because he didn't get drafted where he wanted to get drafted at. Well, everybody thinks that they're supposed to be drafted a little bit higher than what they got drafted at.
Facts.
So instead of using that against him, we're like, let's back him up on that. You know what I mean? And show the league that he was right. And lo and behold, this dude went out there and proved it. So I think that moment when Alan said that, and then we came together as veterans on that team and said, you know what? Let's just back him up. Let's have confidence in this dude that he can lead us. And if he can't lead us, let's teach him how to lead us. You know what I mean? And we got to do that by playing together. We got to do that by supporting him. And that's what he was able to do.
Let's go. Let's go. I like that right there, man. Nah, that was beautiful. That was definitely beautiful. Now, I want to, rewind this thing back a little bit also to you coming out of West Virginia. Just talk about that draft. And did you expect to go where you went? What were your plans, man? And just how did you handle that whole situation, man, being drafted and stuff?
Whew, man. Coming out of West Virginia, I had a big junior and senior year, but I had gotten hurt so many times at West Virginia. I broke the same arm 3 times. I think it was like 388 days apart, man.
Jeez.
And I was almost saying, well, maybe football isn't destined for me. Maybe that's not the path and purpose that God has chosen for me. Maybe, I was meant to just get a taste of this and do something else. But I'll never forget Don Nealon sitting me down in his office and said, no, you have the potential to play on Sundays. And if you're going to let these little injuries get you down, then, you're not built for this. And he said, but I know you're built for it. And I was like, okay, so let me just go out and, handle my business on the field and see what happens in the draft. Because, you start reading the paper, oh, this guy's too vulnerable. He's getting hurt. He's off injured. He's injury prone. So, I think I started to slide down some draft boards. I don't know even how high I was on any of my first. And then, I ended up getting an agent. I was like, what's going to happen? He's like, listen, you never know what can happen. He said, you just go out here, you work these pro days, you go up to the combine, you show out. And the good fortune for me was that my roommate and college teammate was Canute Curtis. He was an All-American linebacker. He was heavily coveted. They were projecting him to go maybe in the top 10, top 20. He was a Butkus Award finalist. So at all of his pro days, like every team almost showed up. I think like 28 teams would come with all their coaches and scouts to see him perform, and he ended up pulling his hamstring and couldn't work out. And all the scouts and stuff were coming. And I'm talking about, no lie, I was showing out on my pro days,
Let's
man.
go. Let's go.
Really, it was his pro day, but I was showing out on his pro day, man. I'm talking about I'm running the fastest speeds that I ever ran, broad jumping over 11 feet, 41.5-inch verticals. Out there catching punts, returning kicks. I was doing everything. And after all of those workouts, my agent came to me and said, dude, you're shooting up some draft boards. Seriously. He said, I'm getting some good information that you might be, second round, late first round. And I'm like, ain't no way. And I was like, ain't no way. But when he gave me that information, I was like, oh, ain't no stopping now. You know what I mean? Ain't no stopping now. And I just continued to press my foot forward. And lo and behold, on draft day, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking that Canute's going to get drafted on the first day. So we're really there to support him. And in the late first round, my agent's like, come in the room. And I'm like, what's going on? He's like, yo, I'm getting calls for you instead of Canute. And he was like, what? He was like, I was like, what should we do? Ain't this like his really like draft party, right?
Oh my God. You stole his pro day and his draft party. Oh my God.
Yeah, I'm feeling kind of awkward, you know what I mean? So I'm like, man, so I'm on the phone. My parents ended up coming down to West Virginia. We're like sitting around getting antsy and everything. And I'm starting to get a couple phone calls, man. And lo and behold, I get drafted in the second round with the 50th pick going to Jacksonville. And we're celebrating. And Canute had yet to be drafted. And I'm like, oh man, like, what should we do? Like, should we party? Should we, like, so I went in the room and I'm talking to him and he's like, look, man, I know I'm going to get drafted at some point. Since you got drafted first, everything's on you tonight. You pay for all this party stuff. You know what I mean? You're the one that's going to have the bigger check. So he said, let's get it. And that was my boy for life, man. He ended up naming his first son Logan. We got a great relationship. Awesome, yeah, he ended up getting drafted later by the Bengals in the 6th round. Went on to play like 6 or 8 years in the league. We still have a great rapport now. But it was an awkward draft day, boy. It was. I was like up and down emotionally. You know what I mean? Didn't know how to handle it. Didn't know what to do. But it all worked out, man.
No, I love that, man. That's a heck of a story right there, man. I love it, dude. Let's go. Said that's my pro day and that's gonna be my draft party. I appreciate you though.
No doubt.
Can you take us?
I put the bill though. I did have to put that bill. You know what I mean? But I put that bill.
I'm sure you weren't complaining about it, being that you did go a little earlier than him. So salute it.
No doubt. It was a celebration, man. A good time. Good time for sure.
Can you take us through your relationship with Troy and that dynamic? Because they draft him essentially in a way to replace you, but you took on like a more of a mentorship role and kind of like lean into it. Can you just take me through that mentality and why you had it that way and why it ended up working out?
They definitely drafted Troy to replace me. There wasn't no essential about it. There wasn't nothing, sugarcoating it. They were like, listen.
No ifs. It happened.
No ifs, ands, buts, nothing. They were like, dude, You just blew out your knee again. You're going into your seventh year in the league. You ain't as fast as you used to be. You ain't as extensive. But there's a guy out in USC that can do all of those things that we're going to go after him and get. And I'm like, and listen, after watching this tape and seeing some of the things they do, I was like, oh yeah, he got it. He got it.
Hey, Mike, I was like, Mike, it's certain ones that you could just look at. You're like, bro, he has it. That's the one.
Bro, like he had that soul glow, that glow around him. You know what I'm saying? He was just it. I was like, this dude's coming here, and I was like, yo, we need to move. We need to start looking for some other locations because this dude is coming in to take my job. But it wasn't necessarily, in my mind, coming in to take my job. It was him coming in to make this team better in an area that needed to be upgraded.
Yeah.
And when you shift your mindset from, okay, the reality, the reality of the business, and you know what it's about. So I shifted my mindset of saying, okay, I may not be the starter, I may not be the guy, but I said I can go and do what I know how to do again in training camp, come back and have the best training camp, and they'll find a place for me on this roster. I'm going to be in that 53. It doesn't matter if I'm the starting strong safety. It doesn't matter if I'm the backup free safety. It doesn't matter if I'm the wedge buster on special teams. I'm going to find a way to make this roster. And I was like, there's not 53 dudes better than me at these other positions that I can't fit into one of them. You know what I'm saying? Wherever it is. And that's the mentality I took on. And I think taking on that mentality made them drafting Troy to replace me easier. And then once you meet this dude, like, there's no way you wouldn't offer yourself up to him because that's the way he introduces himself. No. He offers himself up to you. Didn't know nothing about me, didn't care. He was just like, yo, came in. I felt his spirit, man. And it was just something about that. From that moment on, it was like, whatever I can do to help this dude, I'm going to do. I'm going to show him how it is to be a professional coming from college. On the football side of it, all I had to do was really give him the terminology. He knew everything else. His football IQ was outstanding. I think at the beginning, he was just trying to come in and do so much because there was so much pressure on him to upgrade that position that he made a few rookie mistakes. But that was a short spurt of time from him making mistakes. Once he got into it and understood what we were trying to do and what they were asking of him, there was no stopping that. And through him growing and through him learning, I started to grow and learn and expand because I think as veterans, sometimes you be like, I got this. I know it all. You know what I mean? And you kind of cap yourself off.
Yeah.
With Troy doing some of the things that he was able to do with his athletic ability and his football knowledge, I started learning from him. I'm like, oh, there's another way that we can do that. You know what I mean? But he was so physically gifted that he was able to do some things that I know I physically couldn't do at that time. But I was like, okay, I know how to take a different angle to get here. I know how he's studying film, or he would be sitting down analyzing something and seeing something with his new fresh set of eyes that I may have become stagnant and not being able to see just because I've been doing it for so long. So he was able to point out some things from me. So how could you not have a great relationship with a guy who's seeing insight and giving you insight on what he sees from a new perspective, and I'm giving him what I got from an older perspective and telling him how things went and how things were. I mean, it just went hand in hand. And then when you get in tune with somebody's spirit, man, there's no stopping what can go with their relationship and how far it will go. And that spirit bond got my name called out on the Hall of Fame.
Talk about it,
bro.
Got
my name called out on. Listen, do you know people still come up to me? I'm in Giant Eagle yesterday. Matter of fact, I'll do you one better. I'm in Bob Evans this morning with my son. After coming from his basketball camp, we're sitting down, we're having some breakfast. This lady's, my son is talking. He's being kind of loud, and this lady she just starts laughing. She's like, "Oh, my grandson," and she goes to talking about her grandson, and I'm like, looking at her, and I was like, do they know who I am? Because they just kept on having this dialogue, but they didn't. And I said, she had a nice rapport with my son. So I ended up going and picking up their check. And I was just like, it was great to talk to y'all. I hope my son wasn't a bother and everything. Yeah. And then her husband comes up and he's like, you're a ball player, And I'm just like, And as he's talking, and he's telling me, they're fans or whatever. And then this guy overhears it. He comes up and he said, man, listen, how did it feel to have your name called out in Canton at the Hall of Fame? He said, it gave me chills just from knowing that you're from Pittsburgh and, that Troy called you out. And I said, that feeling that you got, I still have till this day. I mean, till this day, to know that my name was called out on stage by one of my teammates, by one of my brothers, man. It's like I went into the Hall of Fame with him. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that because that's going to be one of the most
that's forever. Absolutely.
Plays speeches over and over again, and every time a class goes in and the Pittsburgh Steelers goes in, they're going to think about that, and my name is going to be brought up. He kept my name relevant for years in the most coveted place for the NFL players to go. So, I mean, I can't. When you talk about can't put some things into word, and this is how I know I've been blessed infinitely, because I'm 14, 15 years out the league, and I'm still, I still have a presence in who I was to my teammates. And that's what it's all about, man. If you can leave a lasting legacy, on your teammates, on, the franchise you played for, that makes everything come full circle, man. I mean, the wins were great. Money was great. All of that's great. But when you can leave an impact from your legacy with your teammates on the highest stage, man, I mean, I don't even know if I'm worthy for that, but obviously he felt I was, man, and I'm just truly grateful for that dude.
No, man, that is awesome, man. And Troy, of course, a awesome human, man, an awesome spirit, man. No, that is awesome right there. Love to hear that. Now, I want to ask you, we got to talk a little college ball as well, man, because
no doubt.
My co-host right here, he's a Pitt alum. I just want to throw that out there. Now, I got to get it out there ahead of time.
Here we go.
You're like the 10th WVU guy he's brought on. I can't believe it.
Man.
I don't think we brought on a Pitt guy yet.
Here we go.
So I did want to talk to you a little bit, though, man. We obviously know the backyard brawl versus Pitt is coming back up, man, renewed and things like that, man. Just talk a little bit about, that matchup, man, and what it's meant for you during your time being a member of it, and also what you're looking forward to seeing with the rivalry being renewed coming up in 2 weeks, I believe it is.
September 1st.
Yeah.
September 1st. For me, this is the way collegiate football is supposed to be. When you have two universities 80 miles apart, know each other, there's all kind of battles going on for recruitment. That the players are going to know each other coming from local high schools, and this is what collegiate sports is all about. And don't get me wrong, I love the NIL deals. I love that money is getting spread out amongst the players, and but these realignments and West Virginia going out west to play teams and all of this type of stuff, man, and you're supposed to keep these rivalries, and you're supposed to have these hard-nosed spot battles between universities that are that close. And for me, it's really personal because I'm born and raised in Pittsburgh. I wanted to go to the University of Pitt.
Oh, okay.
So I did want to go there.
Okay.
1991, I think Coach Hackett didn't feel like I was a scholarship athlete at that time.
Oh, so they made the biggest mistake of their lives. Is that what you're telling us? It sounds like that, man.
So basically, I went into my high school coach's office, and I knew about West Virginia, but I said, who is Pitt's most hated rival? This is a true story, bro. True story. Sal Sinceri came to our school. He said, we're offering one scholarship to one guy on your team, and his name is Jason Chavis, because I just knew it was for me. And I said, Coach, West Virginia is their biggest, most hated rival? He said, yes. I said, well, I'm going down to WVU, and I'm going to kick their ass for 4 years.
Wow.
Best believe that. And guess what? I was undefeated against Pitt
Let's
during my
go.
tenure at West Virginia.
Let's go.
So you know what it means for me. But, you know, truth be told, man, I am still a Pitt fan. I still cheer for those guys. I have a lot of my family and friends who are alumni of Pitt. What this game means for, you know, all the alumni and all the people around here, I think is just instrumental in telling what collegiate football is all about, man. So I'm looking forward to that game. I really am.
Let's go.
Do you have a little scouting report you could give?
Talk
Yeah.
about
What are your expectations of WVU? Because I'm pretty high on Pitt right now.
Baby, pain. No, man.
Is there anything you're worried about?
You know what? For me, it really doesn't matter what the teams are doing.
Like Steelers, Ravens kind of type of thing.
You know what I'm saying? Like really, you kind of throw the playbooks out the window per se, and you go out there and you just play hard-nosed football because there's so much excitement around the history and tradition of what the backyard brawl is. Emotions are going to be flying high. So I don't think this game is the one that's played with, you know, solid technique and within the lines. I think you go and just scribble on the page and the outcome is what it is. You know what I mean? Whoever wants it more, whoever has the most desire in their heart and isn't fearful of going out and losing, I think that's who wins. And I think that's what makes the backyard brawl so special.
Take me home to the
Country
play.
road.
I'm just,
Hey, baby, listen. There won't be no
Sweet
greater
Caroline.
feeling than if West Virginia wins that game on the first.
Are we talking to
And
TG?
singing Country Roads in Acura Stadium. There will be no greater joy for me. I'm letting you know. Letting you know right now.
oh man, I wish you could see my co-host right now. He is going through
Yeah.
it. He is going through it right there, man. But it's almost heaven. It's okay. It's almost heaven, baby. But Mike, I do gotta ask, man. This is the last one we have for you, man. And you have been awesome. The audience, they love you, man. We really appreciate you taking this time, man, to join us on our show, man. It really means a lot to us. But what I want to know from you, man, is if you could just share with us your welcome to the NFL moment.
Oh man. So listen to this though. My rookie year, preseason, we're going out to San Francisco to play the 49ers. I'm in a position where I'm vying for starting at free safety, but I'm playing nickel and dime. And they're like, you know, you're going to start the game. We're going to start the game in nickel, I think it was. And, you know, I go out there. I'm just so excited to get lined up. And I look up, and guess who I'm covering? Jerry Rice.
Sheesh.
Jerry Rice. No lie. It was
Let's
like
go.
that shock moment when you're like, because I'm like, dude, I used to play Tecmo Bowl with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? Like the greatest. So I was so in awe that I almost missed the snap count. You know what I'm saying? Like, and he just ran an out route or something, and I covered him, right? I'm going out. You would have thought that I made the biggest play in the world. Like, dude, I came off so confident and walked to the sideline like I was big dog. And they like, dude, they ain't even throwing the ball. I'm like, man, I just covered Jerry Rice, bro.
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying?
Locked him up. Yeah.
I locked him up. In my mind, that dude was covered. I had already in my mind made the phone call home like, Dad, guess who I D'd up today, bro? I'm telling you, I was all up in his mug, man. But that was the moment for me when I was like, man, you really play in the league, bro. You really play in the league. And, you know, of course you have to get over that kind of fast because I remember going back to the huddle and at the time I played with Big Clyde Simmons. And he's like, rookie, get it together, bro. You here now. You know what I mean? Ain't no time for bright eyes, deer in the headlights.
Act like you belong.
Let's go.
Jeez.
Yeah, like, let's go. You a part of this. So I had to wake up pretty fast, but I ain't going to lie, man. I was like, dude, that's pretty cool that I got to cover Jerry Rice, man. You know what I mean?
Yo, without a doubt.
First play, man. First play. Awesome.
No, I love that right there, man. That is awesome. Mike, man, you have been awesome, man. I feel like we could talk to you forever. whether it's Jacksonville stories, Steelers stories, W stories, man. No, but we really sincerely appreciate taking some time, man. We'll have to have you back on at some point this year as well, man.
Definitely. One quick thing, man.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, man.
One quick thing I wanted to add in. I wish I could have shared the field with you, bro.
Oh, man.
I wish I could have shared the field with you, bro. You're the type of dude that I would have loved to be a teammate to, man.
Respect, man. And definitely likewise on that as well, man. Without a doubt.
No doubt, man. No doubt, man. I want you to just know I'm following you, bro. I support what you do. Keep doing your things, man. You're doing awesome things in the community. Great family, man. Love the pictures of you and your wife. Always doing your thing, man. Stand-up guy. Listen, bro. I'm honored to be on the show. Anytime you guys need me or want me to come on, man, just reach out. And I'm sure we'll be crossing paths in the community.
Absolutely. You already know that.
Doing different things, man. So I appreciate you guys, man.
From the heart, man. From the heart, man. Definitely appreciate you on that, man. And like I said, man, you one of the dudes that paved this way anyways, man, doing this media thing, man, as we already talked about.
Appreciate it.
Salute,
it, man. Definitely.
I like it, man. So until next time, baby. I'll talk to you later, baby. Appreciate you again, though.
All right, now. Let's go, Ears!
No. Add a pet.
I like it, baby. Gotta hit him with a let's go ears on the way out. Sheesh.
Dude, I literally thought it was TG talking for a little bit.
He went on that run for you. I was like, okay. Shout out to Mike Logan, though, man. Spending some time with us. Oh, man, that was a blast talking with him, man. Ton of stories.
That was awesome.
Dude. Yeah, that was phenomenal right there, man.